Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Sincerely Shakti. Today's episode is inspired by recent events in my own life. So I'm going to open up this video by thanking any of you who have reached out to me via private message, text message, comments, or tagged me on posts thanking me for inspiring you and keeping you in a positive mindset. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for reaching out and for sharing that with me. It means the world. Everything I do, and especially these blog posts and these blog videos, the entire intention behind them is to encourage others to not feel so alone, to feel supported energetically, even if it's not in their immediate surroundings, that they can watch this video and say, good, I'm not alone. Good, there are other people out in the world who are having this experience, or wow, that's really good insight. Now I have a direction for which to go. For me, these blog posts, these videos are my form of activism. They're my form of getting on a soapbox and moving into the world from a positive place to counteract any negativity or darkness or heaviness that is occurring vibrationally in the world. So thank you. Thank you for watching them. Thank you for reading my posts. Thank you for letting me know that it's making an impact on you, because that encourages me so much to continue doing this work that I love and that takes a lot of creativity and focus, but is totally worth it. This post is dedicated to you guys. So the title of this video is called Shadow Play: The Price of Inspiration. And I titled it that way because as I have received so many beautiful messages or so many amazing tags from people thanking me for the work that I'm doing and how it's inspired them, I realized that if they had seen me 4 months ago and where I was, it would have been a very different story. They wouldn't have felt that my journey was very inspiring. In fact, they would have felt that it was really sad. And that got me thinking, because I feel that inspiration comes with a price. And no matter who it is that we look at and we say, wow, they're so inspiring or they're so admirable, there's a story behind why you feel that way about them. And people are not inspiring to you because they're awesome all of the time. People are not inspiring to you because they have no flaws. People are not inspiring to you because you see them as perfect. People are inspiring to us because we've seen their struggle, we've heard their struggle, and we've seen them overcome their struggle. And what they share with us, their triumph in light of travesty, is what really awakens us in our core and makes us feel inspired. So I wanted to make a video sharing that because I've noticed, especially social media makes us have such a close-in window to all of our daily lives. I feel like now we have access to everybody's day-ins, day-outs, their highs, their lows, their everything, because people are just freely sharing, whatever on social media. And I see a lot of people sharing their struggle all of the time, complaining about certain circumstances in their life. And there never really seems to be an end to that. It's just kind of like, this is really bad, this is really bad, this is really bad, this is really bad. And, or they see things on the news or out and they're like, this is horrible, this is horrible, this is horrible, this is horrible. And it just becomes sort of like a mantra to their life. The world is horrible, everything is horrible, and my life is so hard, etc., etc. And I really want to caution you guys to creating that or making that the mantra to your life, making that the soundtrack to your life. Because what we say to ourselves and what we do on a regular basis really creates a trend of consequences in our life, big and small, that we can't really understand fully. So when you find yourself in that struggle place, when you find yourself in that heaviness, when you find yourself in the darkness, I invite you to ask yourself, I'm sure you have people in your life that you find inspiring. I'm sure whether they're famous or family members or friends or people that you follow on social media, I know that there are people that you look at and you feel deeply inspired by their story and their journey. So I invite you to look at your own journey, your own story, and think about how you could be that, okay, for someone else. And the reason I'm saying to do this is because sometimes it's so much easier for us to think about helping other people than it is helping ourselves. And having a kid is like a perfect example of this, because since I've had my son, I have worked harder at improving my life than ever before, because I want him to have an amazing life. So as a result, I have to rise up to this challenge of providing him with an amazing life. Right? Am I saying I couldn't have done this if I didn't have him? Of course I could have, but the pressure feels on for me now that I have him, because in many circumstances, I truly believe that it's easier to get motivation or inspiration from an outside source to working towards a goal, maybe for someone else, than it is for ourselves. So for a second, just imagine that people are watching you on your social media channel and struggling deeply and in very dark and heavy places that you can probably relate to very well. And think to yourself, the same way that I have been inspired by these people in whatever my journey or my struggle is, how could I be that for someone else? How could I overcome whatever my current circumstances, or how could I rise above whatever my circumstances, such that someone from the outside watching this or experiencing this could feel assuaged or more at peace as a result of it? And I invite you to begin looking at the difficulty in your life with curiosity, okay? Because like I said, this video is called Shadow Play, the Price of Inspiration, because we do not get to be inspiring unless we're willing to play with our shadows. And what I mean by that is, unless we're willing to look at our shit, to look at places where we are in pain, where we are unsatisfied, where we are vulnerable, insecure, stuck, we don't get to be inspiring unless we're willing to look at all the dark spots that we perceive to be in our life. And when we approach the darkness, the heaviness, the challenges with a sense of curiosity and question, like, how could I look at this differently? Or how could I approach this differently? Or how could I perceive this differently? When we begin to look at the challenges in our life almost like a puzzle, something that we can figure out, instead of something that is just going to drag us down and keep us in a well of pity party, we begin to open our minds to a solution. Our mind loves to answer questions. It's always looking for answers to questions. So when you start to pose your challenge in this form of a question, how could I do this? Or what could I do to perceive this differently? Or the mind will immediately start searching for answers, right? So this is a tool to get you out of a place of wallowing and into a place of moving forward. And what you'll find is that when you start to answer these questions and when you start to get all these answers, you will naturally start to get more and more curious about the challenges in your life. And so every time one presents itself, the natural curiosity will come up and the process will begin all over again. And that is what creates inspiration. in my own life, I have not, right now where I am, is probably the best I've been mentally in a very long time. And if you know my story, you know that I had my son, my first son, and immediately after that, I entered a place of profound depression and anxiety that was to the point where I was crying all the time, at every time. I saw my marriage disintegrating before my eyes. I was very heavy, very immobile. I was spiraling out of control with my food. Everything on the planet that could be going wrong was. And on top of that, I kept manifesting negative circumstances as a result of the place that I was in. So all of these money problems started to pop up everywhere, and all of these like lack and limitation issues started to happen, which was very strange because it was almost like they were coming out of thin air. And then I realized much, much later that they were, because that's where my mind was, right? So for a long time, I wasn't looking at my problems with curiosity. I was just like, this sucks. And I just stayed there for months. And I just let that be my truth. This sucks. But nothing changed and nothing got better. And all around me, I saw people who were improving, inspiring me, working through their stuff, talking about their stuff openly, publicly, without feeling any kind of shame or any kind of embarrassment. And I thought to myself, you know, I'm doing this wrong. I'm doing this wrong because I want to see something different happen, but I'm not willing to do anything different. I'm doing this wrong. So at that point is where I put my curiosity hat on, and I decided it's time to look at these problems from a place of genuine curiousness to try and find the solution. And so I became investigative, the energy of wanting to investigate, wanting to dream up new ideas. I started to dream again. I started to have, vision again of my life, of what I wanted. And slowly but surely, that started to be my way out of that. Eventually, I got plugged into Beachbody, which I'm now coaching with for health and fitness. So as soon as I started doing that, all of a sudden I started moving my body, which I started eating differently, which then led to, reading personal development books again, which was a habit that I had and I dropped. And slowly but surely, this kind of snowball effect happened in my life, and everything started to pick up. And I shared my story. I made sure I was sharing my story from the beginning, constantly sharing. And now 4 months later, I'm getting all of these messages and all of these tags and posts. Thank you so much. You've been so inspiring. I so appreciate you sharing your story, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that is so powerfully moving to me because I know where I came from. I know where I was. And I'm not a superhero. I'm nobody special. I don't have special powers of overcoming problems. I'm a human being. I'm a soul in a human body having a human experience. Anyone can do this. It's about willing to shadow play, willing to look at the areas of your life that you're not happy with, willing to address the situations directly, willing to get curious about your challenges, about your problems, and then making different choices to get different results. Okay? So I want to leave you with the message, with the idea, number one, that people are watching you. People are looking to you for connection of some kind. So what kind of connection do you want to provide the world? Do you want to continue to flood the world with negativity, anxiety, and darkness, or do you want to use your story? Do you want to use your transformation story to really inspire others to do the same, and in that way be an activist of moving your community forward? Right? Number two, do you want to stay where you are? Are you happy with what you're looking at when you look at your life? Or do you want something different? Because when you want something different, you have to make different choices. So this is when the honest assessment of, are you happy with what you've got, or do you want something different? Time to make a different choice. And number three, use the people who inspire you to fuel your own mission. So the people that you are watching, the people that you are following, the people whose stories really inspire you, how can you relate to that story, and how can you make your own story into a story of inspiration? It's not about copying someone's story. It's not about doing what they're doing. It's not about comparing yourself to another person. It's about using whatever aspect of their story inspired you, because there's always something very specific about someone's story that really inspires you. Whether it's when they paid off all their debt, or how they've overcome postpartum depression, or whatever that thing is, look for that and look at your own life and get curious about your life. Get curious about how your own inspiration story is going to come. It's going to happen. It's going to unfold. And from that place, start making small steps to create that inspiration story. And so that's what I want to leave you with. I want to leave you with those 3 things. And once again, thank you so much for sharing your appreciation of my videos, my blog, my posts. I really appreciate it. It inspires me to continue to do this work and to stay ever vigilant of my own choices and my own mindset. And if you need some support, if you need some boost, check out the rest of the posts on this blog. They're all about life topics that we all deal with that can maybe offer you a little bit of perspective on your own life. If you're not Facebook friends with me, go to Facebook and you can find me at Shakti Rios, SHAKTIRIOS. Or you can visit my business page. It's Wellness Mama Shakti on Facebook. So either one of those, or you can shoot me an email directly at shakti.rios@gmail.com and ask me questions. If you want me to point you in a direction for support of any kind, just let me know. I am pretty plugged in now. I've got a great community of people. I've got some great resources. I would love to share them. All right. So as always, keep it real. Be good to yourselves. Sincerely, Shakti.